Thundering Herd looking to make it 9 tonight as the 13-3 and unbeaten in conference Julie Folk's squad welcomes in the 10-5 Old Dominion Monarchs, 2-1 in Sun Belt Conference play. A big-time matchup between two of the Sun Belt's best tonight here inside the Cam Henderson Center in Huntington. It's a Marshall team that comes into tonight fresh off of a win against Appalachian State. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Old Dominion comes in as well, fresh off a couple wins, back-to-back wins, as a matter of fact, as Old Dominion comes in under head coach Delisha Milton-Jones, one of the hotter teams inside the conference right now. Old Dominion, as we mentioned, 10-5 overall, was picked to finish 4th in the preseason in the Sun Belt Conference. It's a 3-game win streak overall with wins over Georgia State, Indiana State, and Georgia Southern. You take a look at what happened the last time for this Old Dominion team. It was a 5-point win over Georgia State and really a back-and-forth battle with Georgia State in that one. It was tied at the half before, in the second half, Samar Fields hit a 3 with 46 seconds left. That was en route to a game where she had 29 points, a career high, to go along with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. India Buford, who will be our player to watch, she also surpassed 1,000 points in her career in that one for ODU, as she had 16. One thing to keep an eye on tonight, there were 20 turnovers in that one for Old Dominion against a Marshall team that has really learned, and had learned especially on Saturday in its win against Appalachian State, Ben, that defense travels.
Defense travels, and Marshall needed that defense to show up in that game against Appalachian State. Julie Folks talked about it. Energy was a little bit tiresome for Marshall, especially playing a game 2 days prior, an overtime win against Coastal Carolina. So Julie Folks had to rely upon that defense for her squad. Worked out well, held Appalachian State to 48 points. Not only that, but 15 points in the second and third quarters combined. 5 points in that second quarter alone. Defense traveled well, and Olivia Olson and Nakai Chesterfield led the way with 13 points. Marshall didn't need to shoot the ball all that well, just 18% for the three-point line. And, well, it helped the Thundering Herd prevail to victory.
So welcome inside the Cam Henderson Center. These are two teams that have met before, as they've met quite a few times. The last time they did meet was last year. Marshall picked up a 73-70 win over Old Dominion here inside the Henderson Center. We'll get set for tip. We'll get you starting lineups here in just a few moments as well, as you get a look at the Marshall head coach, Julie Folks. Ball in the air, Marshall will win the tip. As you can see tonight, you'll see on the Marshall starters, Marshall without the services of Olivia Olson. She was injured late in that win against Appalachian State. She will be out at least for this week. Lewis Utsi inside, gets around Stack. You're gonna see a lot of that as Lewis Utsi attacks the basket. This is an Old Dominion team that's 10th in the country in shot blocks. But that time, Lewis Utsi is able to draw the foul on Riley Stack, and she'll head to the line.
It's that little hesitation move that paid off for Tamaya Lewis Utsi. He usually goes with a Euro step, but this time a little hesitation, stop the dribble a little bit, now muscle her way in, and that draws the foul against Riley Stack.
Lewis Utsi drains the first free throw. She's 77% on the year. As you see again, just that slight hesitation, almost pulling the ball away from the body, doesn't allow Stack to get the block. As Lewis Utsi drains both free throws. That'll have Simone Cunningham quickly into the game for Riley Stack.
That's big as well, because Riley Stack, one of the tops in the nation in shots blocked, 40 blocks on the season.
Take a look at the starters tonight for ODU. There's already a substitution. Nevaeh Scott, who travels with the basketball in the backcourt, and it'll be a turnover on Old Dominion. Nevaeh Scott, Samara Fields, who just came off a career-high 29. Kelsey Thompson, who started all 34 games last year. India Buford, 25. She was preseason first-team all-conference. And then Riley Stack, who we just talked about. On the other side for Marshall, the change in the starting lineup tonight. Starting lineup is brought to you by Highmark, as Blessing King fills in for Olivia Olson. As long as Olson is out, as Lewis Utsi goes strong to the bucket, off the glass and down. 4-0, Marshall with the early lead. As long as Olson is out, Julie Folks told me we're going to go matchup based. Little jumper from just up top. And it'll be drained by Kelsey Thompson. Thompson, the South Alabama transfer. Averaged 9.5 points per game last year. Kicked ball as Marshall got it across midcourt, and now the Herd works it into the front court. Man-to-man defense for the Monarchs right now as Lewis Utsi moves right around the screen. Tried to go pick and roll. Marshall will kick it on the left wing. Now up top, Mayer all the way to the right wing for Blessing King. King will set and fire. That one's way too long. And it'll be picked out of the air by Buford, and Lewis Utsi gets called for the foul. Foul about 75 feet away from the basket, and that's where Luisuzzi will pick up her first. Marshall shot 51 threes against Coastal Carolina. That was back a week ago tomorrow on New Year's Day. They made 18 of them, and that's what helped Marshall propel themselves to that win in that one. Ball down inside. Cunningham has the ball just ripped away from him by Tamaya Luisuzzi. Uzzi all the way down the floor to the bucket, off the glass and down. She's drawn 2 fouls already in the first minute 36. And Luisuzzi, the leading scorer for Marshall, will head to the line.
Such a tough play to stop right there. Tamaya Luisuzzi had 6 steals in that win against Appalachia State. So you talk about the defense for Marshall in that game. Luisuzzi, a big part of that. Again, just takes it coast to coast. When she gets that 1-2 jab step in, so tough to stop.
Second in scoring in the conference, and she's already got 7 in this one. 16 points per game coming into the year, leads the team. She's 6th in the country with 55 steals, as you talked about, Ben. Driving inside all the way to the basket. Fields, little pull-up jumper, gets the shooter's rolls and rolls in. 29 for Fields against Georgia State just 4 days ago. She's got an early 2 now, 7-4. Marshall with the lead over Old Dominion. Now Luisuzzi will go to work on the block. She goes up, drop step that time, tried to go to the body of Buford. No foul called. Old Dominion will come quickly the other way. Cunningham on the right block, goes around Marigny, tries to lay it off, and Marshall pokes it away and takes it away. Again, it's a Marshall team that forces nearly 22 turnovers per game, 27th in the nation. Old Dominion had 20 turnovers against Georgia State. A number to watch in this one. Marigny, a couple dribbles down inside, now kicks it back out to Luisuzzi. Luisuzzi tries to the pass inside on the pick and roll from Marigny, and it was originally ruled off Marshall, and then our official for midcourt came in, and it looks like an overrule, and it'll be Marshall basketball to the right of its own basket as you're watching on your TV. Take a look again. Here's the pick and roll, throwing down inside, looking for Marigny, and Cunningham just tips it off the top of her fingers.
Nice play by Cunningham to stop it, though.
And down inside, Timberland Yeast will go to work, and up off the glass and in. Timberland Yeast, one of the players who's going to have to step up in the absence of Olsen as she gets her first bucket. Olsen is here tonight in street clothes on the bench. Down inside for Fields. Fields just found a weak spot inside that Marshall zone. As Blessing King didn't rotate over. And it's 9-6. Marshall with the lead, just 3 minutes and 10 seconds into the contest. Peyton Ilderton, who's shooting nearly 40% from three-point range. In her last 11 games, dating back to last year in conference play. Marshall gets it inside for Chesterfield, and she just fumbles the basketball. Down inside that time, she was going up against Nakia Allen. And wasn't able to drop step, get to the bucket like she was able to do so successfully against App State a couple days ago. Buford, left wing 3, ball right in. 49% three-point shooter on the year is India Buford. And she is a player to watch in this one.
That's a great job by Thompson, too, to recognize that Buford was wide open there on the left side corner. Had enough separation.
Right wing Mayer, she'll launch a 3 for the herd and rattles it home. Marshall's first 3 of the contest. And Meredith Mayer gets on the board. Marshall takes a 3-point lead back. 5:53 to go in the first quarter.
Old Dominion did everything right on that 3-point shot. Hand up and everything. Just Meredith Mayer, good arch on that shot to get it in.
Allen nearly throws the ball away, and it'll be picked up by ODU. Field tries to drive inside. Now Allen down on the block. Muscles up against Chesterfield. Puts it off the glass and good. Allen doesn't get a ton of playing time on the year, but she's able to establish her presence inside and gets her first bucket.
Marshall going with a little bit of personnel change as well. Gets Rashandra Williams in, and I think that's a good substitution there for the Thundering Herd. Get some size underneath inside the paint. Old Dominion has a lot of height in that roster, especially down low.
Allen,
one of those.
Allen will try and tie it up. Free throw up and rolls around and off, but Thompson gets the board. And now ODU takes its first lead of the contest, 13-12. A lot of scoring earlier in this one. This is a Marshall team that gave up just 48 points in that win against App State a couple days ago. Both of these teams, these are the top two teams in field goal percentage defense in the conference. Handoff to Redmond, top of the key, right corner for Mayer. Just a little bit out of rhythm that time, couldn't let the three go. Lewis Hutzi, top of the key, tries to dribble inside, kicks it out Yeast. Ball tipped away that time by Fields. And with 2 seconds on the shot clock, Marshall will keep possession. We mentioned India Buford, our player to watch, and she is indeed our player to watch today for this Old Dominion team. First team all-conference to begin the season. Preseason first team all-conference. Just 11.5 points per game, but she does a little bit of everything. Marshall throws it away on the inbounds. On the other side for Marshall, Peyton Ilderton, just the leader. You saw her impact at the end of that Coastal Carolina game, shooting 40% from three-point range, as I talked about, in her last 11 conference games. Fields gets another bucket. Now Marshall's Lewis Hutzi goes to the bucket, tries to bank it off the glass. It rolls off no good, but she'll head to the free throw line after the break in the action. 15-12, a helter-skelter, high-paced start to this one. Old Dominion with the early three-point lead, 4:50 to go in the first quarter. We'll be back with more on ESPN+. Back inside the Cam Henderson Center, Marshall and Old Dominion. Old Dominion leading 15-12 on a 6-0 run currently. The Monarchs lead the all-time series of the Thundering Herd, 15-10. Last meeting between these two was last year. Marshall really kind of propelled itself with that win. It was Appalachia State and then the win against Old Dominion that pushed Marshall to winning 9 of its last 11 to end the season last year. In that game, Simone Cunningham for Old Dominion in a losing effort. 13 points, 10 boards, 5 steals, 2 assists, 3 blocks. For Marshall, Aislinn Hayes had 29 points in that one. She was 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Little foreshadowing as Tamaya Lewis Hutzi heads to the line. And she rolls in the first one. Lewis Hutzi, one of the best free throw shooters in the conference, but struggled against Coastal Carolina last week, 5 for 14, but then rebounded with a really good effort against Appalachia State. Talked to Julie Folks about that. She said, I just went up to her in the locker room and said, you good? And she said, yeah. She said immediately, Tamaya was in the locker room, or on the floor against App, shooting free throws before the game. Shot off the back rim as Timberland East brings down the rebound for Marshall. Herd can take the lead back on this possession. Ariana Redmond, one of the Marshall players who's going to have to pick up some slack, along with Timberland East, Cassie Ingram, just anybody who kind of comes into the contest. Marshall mentioned with Olsen out, it's going to have to be able to find some more scoring. East on the baseline. The shot clock is down to 4. Lewis Hutzi just launches from outside off the back rim, and Redmond will run down the rebound, try and save it in for the Herd. But steps on the out-of-bounds line far side. And it'll turn the ball over to Old Dominion. 15-14, Monarchs with the lead, 4:08 to go in the first quarter. Peyton Ilderton checks back in for Marshall. Old Dominion, 7 for 8 from the floor thus far. That was their first miss just a moment ago when that jump shot was missed by Thompson. Ball tries to go down inside for Stack. Treshondra Williams tips it away. Falls into some cheerleaders along the baseline. And it'll stay Old Dominion basketball. Good defense by Treshondra Williams down on the baseline.
They're going to need her to step up big, going against a very tall Riley Stack, 6'4".
Handoff near the top of the key for Delana Carter. Carter transfer from TCU. Now Fields, as Marshall really closes out well on her. Fields drives inside and has it taken away by Redmond. Good defense by Marshall as the Herd forces the 4th Old Dominion turnover. East on the right wing, trying to find it down inside. Marshall's got Redmond to post up on Buford, but instead East is going to move around, get down inside on Stack. Now jumps it down inside Williams. Williams up strong, can't finish, gets her own board, goes up strong again, can't finish, and rebound down into the hands of Thompson.
Looked like maybe it was blocked by Stack. Good defense, though, in the paint.
Yeah, Stack gets credit for the block as now she gets it on the other end. Reward the defender, and Riley Stack off the glass and in. Stack, a transfer from Coastal Carolina. 8th in the nation in shot blocks, 1st in the Sun Belt. She scored in double figures in 3 of her last 4. Right wing Louis Utsi, really good man-to-man defense by ODU right now. Under 10 on the shot clock. Louis Utsi goes to the bucket, can't finish. Williams gets the board, 4 on the shot clock. It didn't reset. Redmond has to launch for Marshall off the rim, and it comes off the side into the hands of Thompson. Marshall disjointed offensively right now. Old Dominion on fire from the field as the Monarchs throw it down inside, but Williams shoved Stack in the back, and she'll get called for the foul. Nine points already in this one for Marshall for Tamaya Louis Utsi. But she's 2 for 5 from the floor. Everybody else 2 for 6.
Marshall struggling a little bit defensively. Get Cassie Ingram in there. He's a very scrappy defender. Probably a good substitution there for Julie Folks.
Baseline, Clayton drives, tries to go up and under Meredith Mayer, and Mariah Clayton gets her first bucket. And ODU 9 for 10 from the field to start this first quarter.
We're making the tough shots count. I mean, what a great shot there by Clayton. Somehow getting underneath Meredith Mayer. A little right-handed underneath shot. Gets it to fall somehow.
Louis Utsi driving baseline for the Herd. Marshall hasn't had a field goal since the Mayer three-pointer. Marshall's 0 for its last 5, and Ilderton has it taken away. Ingram giving chase and tries to chase down Fields, and Fields lays it right in. It's 8 points already for Fields, and it's a 7-point ODU lead.
6-0 run as well. Monarchs really just getting Marshall disjointed, as you mentioned, on offense, creating that chaos, and Thundering Herd unable to do really much of anything on offense.
Down inside, Trayshandra Williams goes up, puts it off the glass and in the harm on Buford.
That's where Marshall, they lured Stack away from inside the paint, left the size mismatch for Trayshandra Williams to have that advantage going to the bucket. Gets the foul, gets the basket to fall.
Take a look at it again. Williams going up strong. Buford just trying to get all ball, and just got a little bit of the hand that time. And that'll send Williams to the line. Williams hadn't missed a free throw all year and misses her first. She's 3 for 4 from the line now on the season. Still a 5-point lead for Old Dominion.
I like how you waited till after the free throw to say it.
3 from the outside, wide open, and Nevaeh Scott drills the 3. She was just 3 for 20 on the year from three-point range, and she drills that one. Again, ODU 11 for 12 from the field here in the first quarter. Louis Utsi tries to get inside for Marshall and muscles up against Carter that time and drops it in. She's already into double figures with 11. Louis Utsi, 22 points per game her last 5. Around the screen, Carter gets inside, goes up with a shot, and it's off the glass, no good. ODU tries to take it away from Marshall. Marshall takes it right back. Cassie Ingram into the front court, and she'll lay it off for Williams. Williams tries to keep the ball away from a trailer. Now Marshall will spread it out. Louis Utsi trying to go to the bucket and gets called for the offensive foul. That'll be 2 on Louis Utsi, and that's worrisome if you're Marshall.
See here, not too much contact, a little extension of the arm. That's somewhat iffy, but if you see that extension a little bit, that raise of the elbow, officials are going to blow it, especially depending on the angle of where the officials are at.
26 seconds left, so ODU is going to hold the ball for the last shot of the half, or the quarter, excuse me. Nevaeh Scott right on the midcourt logo. Gonna dribble down to 7 seconds now. Clayton on the wing, drives inside, goes to the basket, just throws it up, and it rolls off. The ball was halfway down twice. So Old Dominion, after making 11 of its first 12 in the first quarter, misses its last 2 shots of the first quarter and still holds a 6-point lead. 24-18. The Monarchs lead Marshall after 1. Samar Fields paces Old Dominion with 8 points. Marshall paced by Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. We'll be back with the second quarter on ESPN+. 24-18, Old Dominion with the lead at the end of the first quarter. But for what these two teams have done on the year, Ben, 42 points in the first quarter was not exactly what we expected. As you take a look, these are two of the best defensive teams in the entire conference. We mentioned it in the first half. Two best teams in field goal percentage defense, and then Old Dominion goes out and shoots 11 for 14, 79% in the first half, or first quarter. Marshall shoots 46%. These two teams, to be honest, defense has carried them this season.
Yeah, absolutely, and not only that, but among the top of the conference, but among the top of the nation as well. Old Dominion's 28th in the country in field goal percentage on defense. And of course, you know, when we talk about two defensive strong teams, it always equals to a strong offensive matchup between the two. That's how it usually always goes, right?
Of course. So it's like the law of averages. They're so good defensively, you talk about it. Well, that's not what's going to happen.
Again, you talk about with Old Dominion, one aspect we didn't have shown right there is just being able to get those block shots as well. 6.2 blocks per game. And that's one of the reasons why, even though she missed the shot, Riley Stack, a big part of it.
Yeah, easily gotten inside that time for Old Dominion. They get the ball down inside to Riley Stack, and she was not able to convert. But it'll stay Old Dominion basketball. Stack has been a focal point of this offense lately. As I talked about, 3 of the last 4 in double figures. Old Dominion nearly throws it away on the inbound. We run down by Fields as there's 16 on the shot clock still. That Marshall hybrid 2-3 zone it likes to play, where it then does rotate players around at times. Fields on the left wing, moving right around the screen, gets just inside the free throw line and sinks an easy jumper.
With the way Old Dominion is shooting the ball right now, I mean, 11 of 15 from the field. That little separation right at the Sunbelt Conference logo, that's going to be an easy shot, drained every single time for the Monarchs tonight.
Marshall gets it inside for Blessing King. A couple power dribbles, goes to the left side, tries to throw it off the glass and couldn't get it to go down. And the backcourt, Nevaeh Scott walks with it as Peyton Ilderton, just the smart defensive heady play. Talking with Julie Folks yesterday, said, talk to me about Peyton Ilderton. And I mainly referenced that Coastal Carolina game where she scored 5 points in the final 15 seconds to have Marshall overcome a 4-point deficit. But she said, hey, look, that girl makes the biggest plays in the biggest moments. She's extremely smart defensively, and that's what you saw.
Senior leader.
Ilderton with the basketball and gets checked by Scott at the top of the key. And Scott will pick up her first foul. Nevaeh Scott clutching her left wrist as we get set to start again. Continuing to clutch it as play starts. Marshall right wing. Ingram launches a 3 and puts it in. Something to keep an eye on. Scott doesn't want the basketball right now. That left wrist is hurting her. Fields moving inside and rejected by Marigny, who gets the rebound. Great defense by Leosha Marigny for Marshall.
Not only that, but good recognition of the shot, the way the shot was going to be performed, that little underhanded hook. Marigny just denies it. Good play of the hands there.
Cassie Ingram gets inside for Marshall, stops on the right block, and kicks it out. Marshall intimidated a little bit by Stack right now. Ingram all the way to the basket. This time it rolls off no good. King gets the board, kicks it out. Mayer, 3, wide open, off the back rim. And Stack comes down with the rebound for Old Dominion. Monarchs running the floor. Carter all the way to the basket and just rolls it in easy.
Scott's still working on that left wrist.
28-21 as Carter gets her first points. She spent 2 seasons at Coastal Carolina before transferring to Old Dominion. Ilderton inside down the left block and travels with the basketball. The presence of Mariah Clayton threw off Peyton Ilderton, and she travels with it.
They're not taking Scott out right now. Well, maybe they are. Scott
will stay in the contest. She's just kind of hanging out with the training staff towards the corner Actually, she will come out. Got it.
I say Old Dominion made a sub, and Scott was trying to shake it off with the trainer, maybe seeing about getting back into the game or staying in, but they keep her out.
Carter again running the floor all the way down, gets it to Stack. They'll miss the layup, will Stack, but Cunningham gets the offensive rebound, and back to work goes Old Dominion, and just the multiple chances for the Monarchs, and they'll send Stack to the free throw line. This is an Old Dominion team that's 27th in the country in offensive rebounding with 16 per game. As now Riley Stack will head to the line.
It's creating those second chance opportunities that really help you win a basketball game, and Old Dominion's doing a great job of that so far. Riley Stack, a big key to that. Marshall's trying to center the attention around Stack to try to limit her, but that opens up other opportunities. Simone Cunningham, another player that can have a really good opportunity for the Monarchs.
Yeah, I see Marigny get charged with a foul. Stack knocks in the first free throw. 72% free throw shooter on the season. Old Dominion as a team shoots 72% as well as she knocks in both. And Marshall would cut it down to 5. Now it's back out to a 9-point lead for the Monarchs. Old Dominion shooting 65% from the free throw line, or from the field, excuse me, in this one. Marshall only letting teams shoot 36.8% coming into the game. Yeast drives, and now Marshall has to work it back to the perimeter. King on the drive to the basket, gets bumped on the way by Cunningham, and Blessing King will head to the line.
Marshall doing the smart thing right now of just trying to draw those fouls inside. You know you have that size mismatch, so you just have to go one-on-one, try to muscle your way in and draw that contact to really get yourself at the free throw line. Not only that, but get that height out of the game and get the Monarchs in foul trouble.
So Cunningham draws the foul. King puts up the first free throw and off the back rim. Blessing has struggled from the line this year, just 10 for 26 now from the free throw line on the season. As she makes the second. That's the opposite of the jinx we've talked about.
Yeah.
8-point lead now for Old Dominion. Fresh into the game, Nisa Muhammad, who wears number 5. Riley Stack in the middle of the paint and has it stripped away by Blessing King. Marshall forces turnover number 6 for the Monarchs. Now down inside, Yeast, a really beautiful pass inside. Yeast gets the bucket, and Julie Falks wants a quick timeout. And that'll give her team a break now, as she'll take a 30-second timeout. So they'll extend the timeout to the media break. So we'll be back after this. A 6-point lead for Old Dominion with 6:50 to go in the first half here on ESPN+. Back inside the Cam Henderson Center, Old Dominion with a 30-24 lead on the Marshall Thundering Herd. Old Dominion 10-5 coming into this one, 2-1 in conference play, and they are led by Delisha Milton-Jones, and just an incredible career she's had. A 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And the 2000 game, 2008 games, was a Women's Basketball Hall of Fame inductee back in 2022, went into the University of Florida Hall of Fame in 2007, SEC Player of the Year 1997. Just the list goes on and on for Delisha Milton-Jones, the head coach, who was the 4th overall draft pick in the 1999 WNBA draft by the LA Sparks, 3-time WNBA All-Star, won 2 championships in the WNBA in 2001 and 2002. She played alongside Lisa Leslie, Sue Bird, Candace Parker. The list goes on, and she's been a successful head coach as well. She's led the team in 20 to 20-plus wins in the 3 seasons prior to last year. This is an Old Dominion team that's played in WNIT in 3 of the 5 years under Delisha Milton-Jones as well. Just a crazy resume for the former Florida Gator. Fields turns, 5 on the shot clock now. Stepping around to Marshall hand is Thompson, launches a shot, and Blessing King pulls down the rebound for Marshall. Old Dominion, after a scorching first quarter, shooting just 2 for 7 in the second quarter. King driving to the bucket on Stack, and Stack just puts the hands up and gets the block shot.
It's an easy battle one for Riley Stack. Size mismatch and everything. Great length to Riley Stack as well. All she does do, like you said, just put those hands up. She's going to get that block.
Cunningham, an aggressive rebound inside for Old Dominion. And then Marshall pokes it away. Yeast will try and run it down. rebound and can't quite get there. She never drew full possession, so the shot clock will not reset. So Old Dominion will have to go the length of the floor in 14 seconds.
Where you see Marshall try to press up a little bit and create that full court defensive press to really press the issue for Old Dominion.
Old Dominion all of a sudden down to 59% from the floor.
Shows great adjustment by Marshall, trying to contain things in the paint and slow the Monarchs down.
Old Dominion dominating on the boards though, 14-8. Monarchs get it across midcourt with 8 on the shot clock, and shot is up and right off the glass. A beautiful bank shot by Thompson that time, as Thompson's got 6 already.
Talk about Marshall defensive press, full court. Old Dominion did a great job of breaking that with ease, getting it down the floor quickly to find Thompson.
King backing in on Cunningham, now top of the key Marigny. Marshall playing Marigny at the top of the key to try and pull Stack away from the bucket, and the Herd throws it away. So turnover on Marshall, that's turnover number 6. And it'll be Old Dominion basketball. (32-24), Old Dominion with the lead.
It's funny now, the Monarchs sub out Riley Stack at 6'4", and they get another 6'4" Layla Walker in.
Down inside for Cunningham. Cunningham is tied up by Marshall, as the possession arrow will give the ball to the Herd.
That's a big defensive stop for the Thundering Herd as well. Monarchs could take a 10, possibly 11-point lead on that possession. Slow them down just a little bit. Now the Marshall offense has to wake up a little bit, but the Monarchs defense has played really well, not allowing really any sort of good Marshall possession, getting Marshall out of sorts a little bit.
Marshall is shooting 42% from the field, as now Meredith Mayer launches way outside, and Mayer hits it from her hometown of Fairmont. Cuts the lead back down to 5. Marshall 3 for 7 from the outside. Just a 5-point Old Dominion lead, as a kick ball in the backcourt now.
Well, that's one way to get things going. Meredith Mayer, high arcing shot as well. I mean, that looked like a rainbow. Just gets it to fall. My goodness, what a shot.
32-27. Julie Folks yelling from her bench just now to both Tamaya Lewis-Uti and Peyton Ilderton. Keep them in front. She talked to me about not falling for the jab step and keeping the hands up against this Old Dominion team. She said we didn't do it well last year down in Norfolk, but they did it a lot better in Huntington between these two teams. Shot up and off the glass, and Clayton just driving to the bucket. There's the exact example of keeping them in front. Marshall not able to do it that time.
No, absolutely not. Just good speed to get to the basket. Not only that, Old Dominion's done a great job of using that backboard as an advantage.
Lewis-Uti drives to the basket, tries to go up with the shot. Clayton comes over on the help defense and gets the block. And then a beautiful defensive play on the other side. Thompson gets the outlet, and Peyton Ilderton draws the charge. So that's just a smart defensive play by this heady senior from Logan.
Yeah, you saw Ilderton just stop her feet right in her tracks. There's nothing really Thompson could do, because she gets that dribble going and has full momentum going right into Ilderton. So great heads-up play by Peyton Ilderton.
34-27, ODU with the lead. Marshall's trimmed it to 5 a couple times, just can't get it any closer than that. And the Herd throws it away on the inbound. Nearly run back down by King, and now Old Dominion on the wing for Fields. Fields trying to drive baseline, pull-up jumper, rolls out, as Walker gets the rebound. Old Dominion again, 16-8 on the boards, as Tamaya Lewis-Uti comes away with the steal for Marshall. Lewis-Uti kicks it to the corner for Ilderton. Ilderton, Redmond. Redmond gets inside, kicks to the corner, Ilderton. She'll launch a 3, and it falls. Now Marshall will cut it beyond under 5, as Peyton Ilderton's first 3 of the contest. 40% from 3 in her last 11 conference games.
And what saved that possession was at the very start. Tamaya Lewis-Uti had 3 defenders all around her and almost lost the dribble, and she just gets a nice little hand smack on the ball to get it over to Peyton Ilderton on that left side corner. It really set things up for the Thundering Herd to get that possession going.
Clayton bounce pass inside. Walker got Marshall in the air as Yeast goes flying by, and Layla Walker gets her first bucket of the game. This is a Marshall team that generally likes to play 11 players. 10 dressed tonight, all have already played. Luasucci on the wing. She scored a bunch for Marshall early on. She has no points here in the second quarter. Bounce pass on the block for King. Now into the keyhole for Luasucci. Luasucci step back jumper just rolls off. It's not necessarily her game, driving the basketball inside and getting to the bucket. She is extremely crafty with going off the glass. A couple jab steps that time as Old Dominion just creating space for itself. That's what the Monarchs are doing right now. They're just beating Marshall off the dribble. As Monarchs draw the foul on Blessing King. And Nakia Chesterfield will check in for her. Cassie Ingram will also check in for Marshall.
And talk about creating space that opens up the trouble for Marshall to foul right there. Old Dominion using great speed, and Marshall just having to do pretty much anything to slow him down. So not really a bad foul. It's probably an easy bucket.
Right wing, long three for Fields, and she drills it. And then a foul called on Timberland Yeast after the play.
Got Yeast for tripping up Layla Walker. That's a costly foul against Marshall right there. You get that three-point bucket from Old Dominion, and now the Monarchs get the possession right back and take a double-digit lead.
Marshall had gotten it down at 34-30, and a quick 5-0 Old Dominion run pushes it back out to 9. As the Monarchs could take a double-digit lead, and now underneath, Cassie Ingram was defending on Layla Walker, and Walker with the two-hand shove on Ingram, and she draws the foul. So take a look. There's Yeast, and
kind of down by the ankle area, and bodies colliding.
There's the foul on Yeast, and then immediately after that, Walker gave a shove to the back of Cassie Ingram. That's how Marshall gets possession back. 7 turnovers for Marshall, 10 for Old Dominion. The big difference in this one right now, Old Dominion 17 rebounds to Marshall's 8. Old Dominion was 6 offensively. Luasucci top of the key, driving inside, goes to the bucket on Fields. It rolls off, no good. Luasucci gets her own rebound though. Kicks it out, Ilderton. Marshall just looking to create its own shot. Ilderton into the corner, Ingram. They're trying to get it down on the block to Chesterfield, but Walker doing a good job defensively. 8 on the shot clock. Ingram on the wing for Marshall, and 3 in the keys going to be called on Nakia Chesterfield. And really, Chesterfield and Walker are going to work inside. And Walker was doing a really good job of limiting any opportunities for Nakia Chesterfield on the block.
And Old Dominion overall in this game period has done a great job of just shutting things down in that post and inside the paint as well. Now allowing Marshall to enter in there, and you see Marshall hitting those threes. I think that's what the Thundering Herd has to go back to even get back in this game.
Fields steps into that soft spot of the zone and just drains a jumper right over top of Chesterfield. And it's an 11-point lead, 7-0 run for Old Dominion. And Marshall without the services today and will be throughout the weekend of Olivia Olson. She was hurt late in that game against App State. Marshall nearly banks in a 3. Rebound tapped around, run down by Thompson. Old Dominion on a 3-game win streak of its own right now. Marshall winning 8 in a row coming into today. Chesterfield nearly takes it away, and then Yeast does. Marshall gets it up ahead for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, who goes to the basket and lays it in.
That's one of those smart Felix just has to accept defeat right there. You don't want to foul, and Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, that's a bucket you can give up right there.
ODU tries to swing it to the right wing with 45 seconds left, and Marshall tips it away. Monarchs will keep possession of the basketball. A reminder, the Marshall men's team in action tonight at James Madison. Got a big win over Appalachian State on Saturday here at the Cam Henderson Center. That game will tip in about 15 minutes from Harrisonburg. All the way into the corner goes Old Dominion. Fielder will put up a 3, comes off her first action, and she just had to launch it from the outside. And the Herd gets the board. So Marshall will try and trim into this Old Dominion lead before the end of the half. 9-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Lewis-Utsi down inside on Fielder and just puts it up and in off the glass. 15 first half points for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, and it's a 7-point lead for Old Dominion. No shot clock as we get down to 13 on the shot clock now, and Marshall takes it away. Lewis Utsi, right corner, Ilderton. She launches one up. A quick run from Marshall now. And the Herd has it back down to a 4-point lead, a half-court heave, and that'll end the half. Thundering Herd closes as Old Dominion had pushed it out to a 7-0 run. Marshall answers with its own 7-0 run. And it's a 4-point lead for Old Dominion at the half, 41-37. You saw Peyton Ilderton knock in that three. We're going to hear from Peyton Ilderton at the half as well. 41-37, Old Dominion with the lead over Marshall. You take a look again at the three from the corner from the Marshall Center, or Marshall Senior, excuse me, from Logan. Maya Lewis Utsi picks up the assist, her third, and it's a 4-point lead for Old Dominion at the break. Back inside the Cam Henderson Center. Bobby Eddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall. Marshall trailing at the break to Old Dominion 41-37. Old Dominion trying to make it a 4-game win streak. Marshall trying to make it win in a row number 9. And Old Dominion also trying to hand Marshall its first conference loss of the year. As you take a look at the conference, the Sun Belt standings right now, it's the surprising one, I think, if you're a Marshall fan. You've seen the trouble that Appalachian State and Coastal have given Marshall. Well, don't be too surprised. Coastal, for example, has played James Madison already. They played Marshall, two of the top teams in the conference. Georgia Southern's off to a very hot start under Hannah Hayden. The Georgia Southern adopting the same philosophy as what Marshall did by hiring a head coach who's been successful at all the ranks. It's an Arkansas State team that plays very similar to a couple years ago to how Marshall played, which is the full court defense, mass substitutions at times. Of course, Southern Miss bringing in Missy Builder back as the head coach there. They've been very successful. So you see the top of the conference and really some tests coming up for Marshall. Of course, Coastal this weekend. Marshall goes to JMU and Old Dominion next week. And then Southern Miss is where Marshall heads before ULM, when the Herd has to travel down to Monroe. On the other side for Old Dominion, doesn't get much easier either. Georgia Southern over the weekend, another team that is really off to a hot start. Speaking of off to a hot start and off to a hot run, Jalen Spear, for the Marshall men's team. He was the Sun Belt Conference Men's Basketball Player of the Week. And you can't speak enough about really the performance of Jalen Spear lately, Ben, but also you think about time winding down, final 60 seconds of the game on Saturday against Appalachian State. Your leading scorer comes up in the biggest moments.
Not only that, but the veteran score as well with Jalen Spear. Again, 26 points in that game against Georgia State, 21 against Appalachian State. He's been able to find himself to get open, and not only that, but just hit the wide open three-pointers. Has been able to open up his teammates as well. Has been a really great leader for this Marshall men's basketball team. I mean, just phenomenal performance this week. I mean, rightfully earned for Player of the Week of the Sun Belt.
He mirrors his head coach, Courtney Jackson, who was a very successful point guard at Oak Hill High School in West Virginia, then at Tennessee, and at Marshall before becoming the head coach for the Thundering Herd as well. 41-37, Old Dominion with the lead here at the half in Huntington. Monarchs back on the floor warming up. Marshall still in the locker room. We'll be back with the second half, or getting close to the second half of action. We'll talk about first half stats and highlights when we come back here on ESPN+. 4-point lead for Old Dominion at the half. Let's take a look at your first half highlights. Is really to start the contest, been Tamai Lewis Utsi got off to a hot start for the Thundering Herd, but it was not as hot of a start as Old Dominion. The Monarchs shoot 79% from the floor in the first quarter, and that really tells the story of this first half of play because of how well Old Dominion shot the basketball in that first quarter. It negated the high level of defense we expected to see from both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And Old Dominion, I mean, took some tough shots as well in that first half and was really just getting them to fall. You know, you have those nights where it's just a shooter's night. And for Old Dominion right now, it's been that night. And if you're Marshall, it's been so difficult for the Thundering Herd to penetrate inside the paint. I mean, that shows with the height of Old Dominion. I mean, you have Layla Walker at 6'4". You have the starter Riley Stack at 6'4". So Marshall's going to have to create some answers to maybe draw them away from inside the paint underneath the basket and draw them away from the basket to get those open shots, open lay-ins, or you attack from the three-point line, which has worked for the Thundering Herd. But if you're Old Dominion, I mean, just keep on pressuring inside the paint. And not only that, just slow Marshall down. They've gotten the Thundering Herd out of sorts a little bit, and the Monarchs just need to keep on doing that.
2 blocks officially in the first half for Riley Stack, but not to be outdone, Samar Fields, 15 points, 3 assists, 2 steals in that first half as well for Old Dominion. Let's take a look at your first half stats brought to you by University Ford. And there's that shooting number we talked about for Old Dominion. In the first half, the Monarchs shoot 18 for 29, 62% from the field against the Marshall team that's only allowing teams to shoot 37% from the floor on the year. Marshall on the other side. Marshall, pretty good shooting percentage in the first half, 46% from the floor against an Old Dominion team. Best field goal percentage defense in the conference at 35%. So that kind of tells you the story, but the real story of this one, rebounds, 18-10. Old Dominion out rebounding Marshall. Why is Marshall hanging in if the Monarchs are shooting so well and playing so well on the glass? Well, look at the points off turnovers. Marshall forcing 12 first half turnovers against Old Dominion, results in 23 points. Old Dominion with just 11 off Marshall's 8 turnovers in the first half. So what Marshall does, forces nearly 22 turnovers per game, second in the Sun Belt, 27th in the nation. So Ben, you kind of talked about it. For Marshall, it sounds like driving the ball to the basket is going to be very key to also get Riley Stack out of the paint in the second half.
Yeah, you just got to find a way to just draw her away. Maybe get Trishonda Williams on one side or Blessing King. Whoever your big is out there on the floor for Marshall, you have to find a way to get them one-on-one and pull them away. Get them close to the corner toward that three-point line, and you have that opening. Of course, Riley Stack is a smart player. She's going to be able to recognize that, maybe collapse in when, say, Tamaya Lusuzi or somebody of that sort drives inside. But you've got to get that separation to allow some open shots underneath the basket if Marshall wants to prevail. But then again, if you get those open shots underneath the basket, those nice lanes, those open lanes to drive, that opens up the three-point shot, which Marshall's been successful with, especially with Peyton Ilderton.
That's exactly what Julie Falk's going to talk to me about. She said, look, our straw that stirs the drink is Tamaya Luasuzi. If she's getting to the basket, that just frees up your post players, that frees up your perimeter players. It allows you to do a lot more things offensively. Second half about to get underway as Samar Fields will inbound the basketball. She led all scorers, or was tied for the lead with all scorers with 15 in the first half.
Again, for Old Dominion, who has the ball now, Nevaeh Scott has that wrist taped up a little bit. We'll see how she does here in the second half.
Old Dominion looking for their 4th win in a row, 11th on the season. Stack with a jump shot that time. And I think if you're Marshall, you're okay with that jump shot a little bit away from the bucket, even though Stack knocks that one in and pushes the lead out to 6. 6 points now for Riley Stack.
Now, you don't want to allow that much separation, but that's a bucket you could surrender and let her earn it.
Left wing Yeast, Marshall on the weave. Yeast gets inside, goes up on Stack, and has the shot blocked. That's her 3rd of the game for Riley Stack. Old Dominion goes down inside, and now Stack has her shot blocked. And Ilderton comes away with the board for Marshall. Stack averaging 2.5 blocks per game. She's already got 3 in this one. Right wing Yeast to the basketball. Down inside Mayer. Mayer posting up on Buford. Just a beautiful up and under with the left hand. The fundamental play that time by Meredith Mayer. She's got 8. Samar Fields gets inside. Nearly carried the basketball. Throws it up off the glass. Rebound tapped off of Yeast. And it'll be ODU basketball.
That's one of those plays Timberland Yeast has to get up and grab that basketball, just kind of smacked it away a little bit. If you don't, and that's one thing that Old Dominion's been able to take advantage of, is you talk about the rebounds and all that. Marshall's allowing those second chance opportunities. Got to grab that ball. Can't smack it away.
Thompson jump shot rolls off, and Yeast pulls it out of the air. Left wing Ilderton, she'll launch another 3 off the left rim, no good. A rebound comes down, tapped around to Timberland Yeast. Yeast up top, Mayer. Mayer jab, steps back, launches, ball tapped around, and didn't even draw iron that time, and Old Dominion comes away with the board. 4-point lead still for Old Dominion. Stack catches, tries to go up with the shot at the same time. Monarchs rotate all the way around to Fields on the wing as she airballs a 3, but Thompson comes away with the board.
And you see how much attention Riley Stack gets. Marigny's so synced on Riley Stack and not allowing her to get the rebound that Thompson's right underneath all by herself to get that offensive rebound.
Now Stack will take a long jump shot. And she hits a 3. Riley Stack just 2 for 20 on the year coming into the game from 3-point range. And she buries a triple. So Stack's got a triple. She was 10% from the outside coming into the game. And also a triple for Scott, who was 15% coming in. Marshall answers on the other end with a bucket off the glass. And it's just a 5-point lead for Old Dominion. This press that the Herd normally plays as Marshall will back up into its 2-3, because Old Dominion's done a pretty good job of breaking that press. Baseline pass, Thompson. Thompson jab step one way, drives in, and now Old Dominion gets it into Stack. Stack, short jumper was long. Nobody get there for the rebound, and now Marshall takes it away on the pass. Thompson was laying on her backside, and the Herd will run the floor now. Lewis Utsi down to the left block, rotating around the middle of the paint, kicks in the left corner. Ilderton, she'll launch a 3, is long. Rebound tapped around, and Stack comes away with it. Old Dominion still plus 12 on the boards on Marshall. Buford throws inside looking for Stack, and it'll be picked up by Marigny. The offensive efficiency for both teams is certainly slowed down here to start the second half.
It's a little bit sloppy offensive possessions. Teams throwing it away to each other a little bit.
Is it sloppy offense or good defense?
Maybe a mix of both.
Ilderton to the bucket, lays it off Marigny, who rolls it home.
Talk about the shooter's roll. How about that? Off the glass and in, and just found its way to the bottom of the net. That's huge right there. If that foul's on Riley Stack, that's going to be big for Marshall, because that would be Riley Stack's second foul.
Yeah, they already got the second foul on the board, as that'll send Marigny to the line to try and bring Marshall within 2. 77% from the line on the year. It's a great pass by Ilderton as well.
That's exactly who you want to get in the foul trouble. Is Riley Stack trying to get her out of the game if you're Marshall.
Marshall looking for win number 9 in a row coming into today, but in that 8-game win streak, the Herd nearly 80 points per game. Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, as we talked about, the straw that stirs the drink. She's the offensive prowess. We've talked about Peyton Ilderton, how well she shot from the outside. A couple of overtime wins. Julie Fulks talked about that post-game after App State. She said, hey, I knew we didn't have the legs. We had to sell out defensively and be good defensively because our offense wasn't there. Mayer, 3 for the lead, no good. Herd tries to track down the rebound. As it rolls across the baseline, it'll be Old Dominion basketball.
And you can see the frustration on head coach Julie Fulks' face on that 3-point shot. Kind of felt like a wasted possession for the Thundering Herd, because Ilderton slows it down a little bit. That's a smart play. Slow it down, let your players get down and get up, get something going offensively. But just an ill-advised shot there from Meredith Mayer. Wasted possession.
Julie Fulks has a conversation with Meredith Mayer. Marshall trails by 2. 5:48 to go in the third quarter on ESPN+. Get all of ESPN's college basketball all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the new ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. Speaking of that ESPN app, the Marshall men in action down in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Herd up 12-4 right now, just under 15 minutes to play in the first half down in Harrisonburg. Back here in Huntington, the Marshall women trailing by 2 with 5:48 to go here in the third quarter. As the ball is fumbled away by Old Dominion along the baseline, and it'll be Marshall basketball.
And talk about the defense of Peyton Ilderton yet again, forcing another turnover. I mean, she's been crucial, not really showing up offensively on the stat sheet, but man, the defensive pressure has just really played huge. Of course, we remember in the first half when she took that charge foul, created a turnover, creates a turnover there. She's just been monumental defensively for this Thundering Herd team.
Already 5 turnovers for Old Dominion in the first 4 minutes and 15 seconds of the third quarter. Marshall gets it inside for Williams, tries to go up, rolls off, no good. Williams gets her own board, goes up with the shot, and Stack gets the block. Riley Stack establishing her presence in this one. Fields down inside, ball tapped around, and Old Dominion recovers on the baseline. And it'll be a jump ball, and the possession arrow goes to Marshall. So another turnover for Old Dominion.
That's absolutely huge as well, because Old Dominion was about to get a nice bucket underneath with Riley Stack, but the ball was deflected around. Great defense by Marshall just to get back. That transition defense to get back quickly and shut anything down for Old Dominion.
Hurd works it on the ring to Ingram. She had a 3 in the first half. Top of the key, Williams. She thought about a 3 that time, but instead decided to hand off. And then makes matters worse as Williams fouls Buford at the top of the key after the turnover.
It's a great job by Buford seeing that handoff. Read the play perfectly, just got that inside leverage to where she could get a hand on that basketball, deflect it away, and force the foul.
46-44, Old Dominion with the lead. 5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
So tricky sometimes on those hands off when that defender is just taped to you.
Thompson, baseline jump shot, and a short off the rim. Rebound tapped around. Buford, smallest player on the floor, laying on her back, comes away with the rebound. Old Dominion all the way around the world. Left corner 3 for Buford, and she buries it. Buford nearly a 50% three-point shooter on the year. She's 2 for 2 from the outside in this one. She's got 6 now.
Talk about spreading out the defense, just beautiful passing. Spread it around the perimeter for Old Dominion, opens up the shot. Marshall just discombobulated.
Hilderson throws a pass, and it's picked off by Fields. Fields rolls off a shot, no good. Yeast had the rebound. It was poked away by Buford underneath. And it'll be Marshall basketball. That'll take us to another break. 49-44, Old Dominion with the lead. 4:08 to go in the third quarter of action. We'll be back with the rest of the third quarter in just a moment on ESPN+. Get a look at the Marshall head coach, Julie Fulks. Second season at the helm for Marshall. She's 28-23 with the Thundering Herd. And this is a team, you know, she's 28-23, but she's 22-5 in her last 27 games dating back to last season. And that run for this Marshall team started with a win against Appalachian State last season, and then Old Dominion, Marshall beat as well. And you saw Marshall make the run in that conference tournament last year, the 4 wins in 4 days. And they've really kind of taken that momentum they built last year at the end of the season, Ben, and translated it this year.
Absolutely, and they're starting well in conference play. 4-0 start. Marshall in a little bit of trouble right now, facing off against a really stout Old Dominion team. Just been able to contain them. Of course, Marshall still down Olivia Olson. Big piece of the puzzle.
Lewis Utsi to the bucket, off the glass and in. 19 now for Tamaya Lewis Utsi.
In that jab step, the hesitation is just so lethal. The bag of tricks for Tamaya Lewis Utsi.
The VCU transfer has been that offensive catalyst that Marshall needed after losing Aislinn Hayes and CeCe Mays from last year. Down inside, another transfer, Kelsey Thompson, transfer from South Alabama, goes to the bucket and pushes the lead right back out to 5. Kelsey Thompson led South Alabama in 23 and 24 with 12 points per game in that team for the Jaguars before transferring to Old Dominion. Right wing 3 for Treshandra Williams, tried to bank it in that time. As Old Dominion comes away with the board and will run the floor. Monarchs swinging around to the right wing. Thompson nearly charged into Lewis Utsi. Fields with it now with the player in her face and throws it away. Redmond comes away with the steal for Marshall. Redmond leaves it. Now the Herd will set up the offense as Julie Fulk shouts instruction from the sideline. Lewis Utsi, some dribbles, gets a hand check from Thompson from behind. That'll be foul number 2 on Kelsey Thompson.
It's a good job of Tamaya Lewis Utsi just muscling her way in. A great job by Marshall as well. Bounce pass to Timberland Yeast. Just really slow things down. You want to get that quick transition off of a takeaway, but realizing you don't have the numbers advantage, just slow things down, let the offense set up.
Peyton Illerton will inbound the ball for Marshall, throws it in, gets it to Lewis Utsi, who keeps possession now. Lewis Utsi inside, goes up against Stack, tries to throw up a great miracle shot. Williams comes away with the board. Great board by Trey Williams. Timberland East kicks it out. Williams again, open three this time, rattles out. Nearly fell that time for Chandra Williams. Stack was giving that shot to her from the right wing.
Lid on the bucket.
Good job by Williams, pushing Stack away from the bucket. Stack trying to back in on Williams, and Marshall takes it away. Herd forces turnover number 19 now. Marshall 1 for its last 7 from the field. Tamaya Lewis Utsi doesn't care. She charges the bucket. She's got 21, the game high.
One of the last 7, 2 of the last 8, and who got those 2 shots? Tamaya Lewis Utsi. Did a great job on that drive.
Scott with it on the right wing. Bounce pass top of the key now. Buford left around the screen, gets inside, just throws up a floater, and that's a pretty shot from India Buford. She's got 8 now. First team all-conference in the preseason.
This is where Old Dominion's giving struggle to Marshall, because the Thundering Herd gets that answer and tries to cut it into this lead, and the Monarchs just instantly have a response right back.
Mayer pull-up 3, misses it left as she airballs a 3-point shot. And that'll be Old Dominion basketball now.
Julie Folks just kind of gave that little shocked face to Meredith Mayer, saying, what are we doing? And you try to get those points all back at once, but still got a long ways to go. Full quarter and minute 13 here in this third as well, so can't try to force all those points back at once.
Old Dominion into the front court, throws a shot up off the rim, no good, as Williams pulls down the board for Marshall. Maya Lewis Utsi quickly into the front court for the Thundering Herd. All the way to the basket goes Lewis Utsi. Couldn't get it to fall, but a foul is called. She'll head to the free throw line.
You see her zigzagging her way up the floor, and you knew right then and there that she was going to take it all the way and go coast to coast. Did not hesitate whatsoever. Gets herself to the free throw line. That's what Lewis Utsi does so well. It's just drawing that contact, getting herself to the free throw line to try to get those free points.
So Lewis Utsi will head to the line. She's perfect from the line there today. And she puts up the first one, misses it off the front of the iron. Marshall on the year as a team, making 75% of its free throws. It's 50th in the NCAA. Puts up the second one, and it rolls home. Still a 4-point lead for Old Dominion, though. Quick update, we talked about how well Georgia Southern's been playing on the women's side. Georgia Southern leads James Madison 53-49 right at the tail end of the third quarter down in Statesboro. Maya Lewis Utsi into the front court. Marshall on the right wing as the Herd hands off Ingram. Ingram had a 3 in the first half. Ingram all the way to the bucket, puts it off the glass and down. 2-point lead now for Old Dominion. 23 seconds to go in the first half. Shot clock is off. And Old Dominion turns it over again. Turnover number 21 on Old Dominion. Lewis Utsi for the tie, off the glass and in. 24 now for Tamaya Lewis Utsi as Marshall has tied it up at 53. 4 seconds on the clock. Buford launches and drains it. India Buford puts it down, a 2-foot on the line, but Old Dominion will take a 55-53 lead into the fourth quarter.
And Old Dominion had the numbers advantage. Tamaya Lewis Utsi tried to go for the steal on the inbound. Didn't work out, and so it was 5v4 for the Monarchs. It worked out well. Buford, just great stop. Just 1 foot down and still gets the shot to fall. Marshall getting that momentum, and that's such a big play there for Buford to get that shot to fall.
They'll review it to make sure she got it off in time.
Is a 2 or a 3.
Actually, they will make sure if it was a 2 or a 3-point shot. So they're going to take a look at it just to make sure that the foot was on the line. I thought in live action, the foot was indeed stepping on that 3-point line, which would relegated to a 2-point shot. You heard me kind of talking about it. Georgia Southern was beating James Madison 53-49. But we are going to go ahead and step aside. I believe it's a 2-pointer, 55-53. We'll let you know as you take a look at Buford to end the half. It's close. It may have been on the line, maybe not. We'll let you know when we come back. 56-53, Old Dominion with the lead. And what would Marshall do tonight without Tamaya Lewis-Utsi? 24 points thus far for the senior from New Jersey. 31 is her career high. She's closing in on that one. And Ben, you talked about it. Marshall needs her to drive the ball to free up other players, but also gets her going too.
Yeah, absolutely, because she draws that attention as soon as she's driving. So Lewis-Utsi can have an outlet, try to find somebody open for a three-point shot per chance, but if Marshall could just hit those threes right now. Marshall 5 of 17 from three-point lane. You don't want to force those shots as well. Just find your right shot. Find what works for you.
So it was a three-pointer for Buford before the end of the third quarter buzzer. So it's 56-53 Old Dominion now. As a shot missed by the Monarchs, but Buford, again, smallest player on the floor, runs down the rebound. She's got 4 of those tonight. Driving baseline, the Monarchs. Monarchs work it out. Now down inside on the drive to the basket. Ball is stripped away from, I think that was Clayton on the drive. It'll stay Old Dominion basketball with 9 on the shot clock. This has been the theme for Marshall lately, playing close games late. It's Coastal, App, JMU. The last 3 contests all have been close. Ball inbounded and tied up as Yeast and Clayton tie it up. And the possession arrow gives the ball to Marshall.
That's huge, forcing that first Old Dominion possession to come up empty. Trailing by 3 right now. Well, Marshall's got to capitalize. Again, don't force a shot. Just take what's given to you.
Lewis-Utsi moving left around a screen, gets inside, cut off. Good defense that time down inside by Carter. And now Marshall will just have to reset. Ingram hands off to Meritop, the key now back Lewis-Utsi. Lewis-Utsi on the drive against Clayton, puts it off the glass and in, plus the foul.
Again, that hesitation is just so lethal because as a defender, you stick that hand up, you're ready to swat your hand down to potentially get the shot blocked. But that half second of hesitation just throws your timing off and that hand comes down late. What a job by Tamaya Lewis-Utsi.
Here's what you're talking about, just also where she kind of pulls the ball away from the defender, kind of uses her body as a shield.
And it forces the defender to use more length, put the hand down more, and so that draws that contact, and Lewis-Utsi sinks that free throw. We're all tied up here, Bobby.
56 all now as Lewis-Utsi sinks the free throw. She's got 27. Only Marshall player in double figures. Old Dominion skips it into the corner for Buford. Now around to the top to Scott. Marshall kind of playing that zone defense we've talked about a couple times, as that's a great skip pass down inside from Scott to drop it off for Thompson. Get the layup on the block. Marshall's almost going into a 1-3-1 to an extent right now. Williams at the foul line, hands off for Timberland Yeast. Yeast down inside, good defense by Cunningham. Williams, top of the key, there's that 3, off the back rim, and rebound, tapped around, and nearly run down by Tamaya Lewis-Utsi as Buford pokes it away. I think a lot of people thought it was a foul called. Lewis-Utsi definitely tried to sell it, but it was a foul call. I thought it was just poked away. But it will be a foul on India Buford, her 3rd. Okay, so that makes sense. She pretty much got into the basketball. Lewis-Utsi did sell it a little bit, but a foul called either way. So Delisha Milton-Jones wants to know if a foul was called.
They're asking if the foul was called or if there wasn't.
I think they're confirming which number.
I have it up on the stats as a foul on Buford.
Well, and also the debate is how many fouls is that now on India Buford? So on the scoreboard, they've got it at 4. The official stats have it at 3. That's the big debate right now. She wants to confirm how many fouls that is on India Buford. they've got officially in the scorebook is 3 right now. So back in action. Marshall still trailing by 2 with 8 minutes to play. Down inside, Yeast on the beautiful entry pass. Yeast and 1.
What a pass from Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. Yeast cuts inside, gets into the paint. She had enough space where Lewis-Utsi just floated that in there. Perfect pass. I'm sure Tamaya Lewis-Utsi might play a little quarterback. I mean, that was perfect. Dropped in a bucket. Timberland Yeast picks up the contact.
And a tremendous screen was set there to allow Lewis-Utsi to cut down to the block as well. Blessing King set the screen. She gave a little smile after the play. Yeast puts up the free throw and gives Marshall the lead. 59-58, Marshall has battled back. Marshall in your face defense right now. Thompson dribbles along the baseline, hands back off to Fields in the corner. Fields drives inside, and a foul is going to be called on Marshall. Only the second time today we've changed the lead in this one. And after shooting as well as it did in the first half, Old Dominion in this second half shooting just 41%. Still well, but not the 70% blistering pace it was shooting in the first half. Left wing 3 is up from Carter and off the back rim, off the backboard, and falls into the hands of Lewis-Utsi. She's going to run all the way down the floor, put it up off the glass, and that's one of the only times you'll see the Tamaya Lewis-Utsi hesitation not work.
It's because the defender stayed right there and knew the hesitation was coming and just was kind of like a brick wall, so
stayed grounded.
Got her flustered a little bit and influenced the shot.
Right wing Carter down on the block now. Thompson, she's got 10 in the contest. Instead, she'll kick it out Fields. Fields without a point in the second half. Now left wing 3 open for Scott, and Scott puts it in. Again, Scott came into today shooting 15% from 3-point range, and she's got 2 of them in this one.
Not like that, but Old Dominion 70% from 3-point range, 7 of 10. It's really efficient from there right now.
61-59 now. Marshall gets it inside for Mayer. Mayer throws it up off the glass against Scott, the 5'6" against 6 foot. No foul called. That's what Julie Fulks wanted. It's a 2-point lead for Old Dominion, and then Fields walks with it on the right wing. Turnover number 23 on the Monarchs.
That's big right there. Marshall's been given so many opportunities, and of course Marshall's been able to get those points off of turnovers throughout this game. 35 points off of turnovers. If you want to get back into this one to potentially tie it up or take the lead, got to strike here if you're Marshall.
Old Dominion, while it's turned it over 23 times to Marshall's 10. Right now, the Monarchs plus 15 on the boards. Marshall gets it down inside for King. Into the corner, Mayer 3 up, no good, but Yeast pulls down the rebound for the Herd. Now Tamaya Lewis-Utsi goes to the bucket, gets fouled from behind, and she'll head to the free throw line.
And that's just pure speed from Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. She just beats her defender, Simone Cunningham, to the bucket.
The officials will discuss it. I think they're trying to determine, do they need to have another look at this one?
There were 2 Monarch players down there to see which player it was that actually was called for the foul.
Yeah, they're going to take a look at it again. They're going to take a look at the foul. So if you look, here goes Lewis-Utsi on the drive to the bucket.
Previous play is under review.
Cunningham came down aggressively. Now, whether or not that warrants a flagrant, we're going to have to find out from the officials. So first break of the second half extended to a full. We'll be back in just a minute. 2-point lead for Old Dominion with 6:12 to go in the contest. Two-point lead for Old Dominion as the Monarchs lead Marshall before they will head on the road down to Statesboro, Georgia, excuse me. As they will take on the Georgia Southern Eagles. That's a Georgia Southern Eagles team right now that is leading James Madison by 7 with 4:45 to go in that contest. That'd be a big win for Hannah Hayden's team. Then back home against Appalachian State, who's struggling with Coastal Carolina tonight, and Marshall. And of course, Arkansas State and Texas State coming up for the Monarchs. On the Marshall side of things, for Marshall after tonight, the Herd has to defend its home court on Saturday against Coastal Carolina, a Coastal team that they went to overtime with before really rallying for a miraculous late victory in that one. And then the Herd has to head on the road to Harrisonburg, where its men are playing right now and leading by 11, as a matter of fact. And then Old Dominion, some tough contests coming up for Marshall. Julie Folks talked about it. She said, look, we're playing the best teams in this conference at the beginning of the year. And so far, at least, Marshall has held up with that 4-0 record to start the year.
They get the tough opponents out of the way first, and kind of worked out for the conference schedule for Marshall. But then again, the conference road for the Thundering Herd doesn't really get easy at all. I mean, this conference is so difficult. I mean, it doesn't lighten up for either team, for Old Dominion or Marshall, because they're still reviewing this foul.
The officials continuing to talk about the foul.
The call stands on the floor.
So it was reviewed for quite some time before they just essentially said, hey, it's going to stand as a common foul. And I think that's the right call. It was definitely a hard foul, but it looked to be a good foul.
That's just one of those plays, you know, heat of the moment. Cunningham's trying to get the block, and you get that aggressive contact, but nothing really too aggressive to warrant a flagrant foul. I mean, that'd be huge as well, because if that gets upgraded to a flagrant, Marshall gets 2 free throws and the ball back. So a little break there for Old Dominion, and Marshall still gets the free throws out of the way. But
yeah, they're still reviewing something here across the way, just continuing to review exactly what's going on. But regardless, 2-point lead for Old Dominion right now. Tamaya Lewis-Utsi will head to the free throw line for Marshall in just a moment. What's been impressive tonight for this Marshall side is forcing the 23 turnovers that it's forced in this contest. And then, of course, Marshall has scored a ton of points off of those turnovers as well. So, Ben, you had a chance just now to kind of get an idea as to what's being talked about. It seems like a pretty lengthy conversation as to what's going on.
yeah, absolutely. So there's 2 things they're actually reviewing right now, and one of them is the flagrant foul to see if it was a flagrant one, and that's just been called as a common foul. Now, the other thing that they're reviewing right now is Buford, on our stat sheet, has 3 fouls, but on the board has 4. They're trying to review to see if she has either 3 or 4 fouls, you know, whether the official misheld up like 7 or whatnot to translate for 25. Who knows? But that's what they're reviewing right now, just to make sure, hey, does Buford have 4 fouls or 3 fouls right now?
Well, again, you know, you think about it. It wasn't until a couple seasons ago that you were even allowed to have a number higher than 6 to 9, 16 to 19. You weren't able to have those numbers. And, you know, I'm going to get on my old man soapbox here. We didn't have those problems back in my day.
Yeah, no. I mean, even then, I mean, you got the 25 and the 7, so, you know, referees have to, like, kind of...
Yeah, we're not blaming the referee at all. It's
you have to come up with a different hand signal. So, like, for 7, you have to, like, put the hand sideways, and 25, you have to make sure. You have to make it clear.
You know, I'm also a guy that's of the opinion still that NFL wide receivers should be number 11 through 19 and 80 to 89. That's just me being old school.
You don't like the number 0?
No, the number 0 or any receiver wearing a number 2. That was supposed to be special, reserved for college. You know, you got guys like Randy Moss who wore 88, then he wears 84. All those things. That was what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, Randy Moss could have worn the number 8 like he did back at DuPont High School. Here in about an hour, a little over an hour from here.
As the kids say nowadays, it's all about the swagger and the aura.
I'm 37, Ben. I'm almost 38. I don't have swagger or aura to exist anymore.
You're one of the kids. You know? You're with us.
I wear tennis shoes with a suit. Does that count? Does that count?
Hey, it works out, honestly.
61-59 our score here in Huntington. The score down in Harrisonburg, the Marshall men leading by 10. 31-21 over James Madison. Get a look at the Chesapeake High School band, who is performing tonight at this one. Performing due to the fact that the Marshall band has not been back yet. The students come back this weekend as classes start back up on Monday. I got reminded this morning that my college graduation, let's see, it was exactly 15 years and 4 months ago. Just for, you know, anybody that cares. Just for anybody that cares. I got reminded this morning by the nostalgic apps you may find on Apple.
I've been out for a year.
Yeah, you've been out for a year, and, you know, we're not going to talk about kind of the age discrepancy and some of the things, you know. speaking of that, Old Dominion, I can remember a time when Old Dominion's basketball team was really, really successful, as they officially ruled that it's 4 fouls on India Buford.
That's huge.
Well, I can remember a time when Old Dominion's basketball team extremely successful. 7 Sweet 16s. They went to the NCAA tournament every year from 1991 to 2008. They were the NCAA runner-up in 1997 when Old Dominion lost to Tennessee in the national championship game in Cincinnati. Pat Summitt was the head coach of Tennessee. Who else did Old Dominion beat in that run? They beat Delisha Milton-Jones's Florida team. Her last college game was a loss to Old Dominion. As Lewis Utsi buries both free throws for Marshall. The free throw woes she suffered at Coastal Carolina go by the wayside tonight. She is 9 of 10 from the line, and Marshall ties it back up at 61. Again, nearly turned over by Old Dominion in the backcourt. 23 turnovers tonight for the Monarchs. Monarchs launch a 3 from the left wing. Cunningham comes away with a tough rebound inside on the air ball. Gets fouled by Blessing King, and Simone Cunningham will head to the line.
Do you count that as a pass?
It was definitely a shot.
By the way, it worked out well for Old Dominion.
In the Russell Westbrook days for the Thunder, they would have counted it as an assist. Cunningham headed to the line. She's scoreless tonight after having a double-double here in Huntington last year. She drills the first free throw.
I mean, that's
71% free throw shooter on the year.
I mean, that's absolutely huge from Cunningham to be able to get that rebound on the air ball and just Marshall out of position and able to put it up and draw the contact.
Second one is good as well. Preseason third-team all-conference for Cunningham, and she's got her first 2 points of this one. Old Dominion going to drive, or going to guard the entire length of the floor. Lewis Utsi gets inside for the herd, goes up, tries to put it off the glass, and gets fouled, and she'll head to the line.
That's on Cunningham. That's her third as well.
Lewis Utsi, they're just giving her the basketball and letting her take over right now. So she'll head back to the line where she's 9 for 10.
She's at 29 points right now. Her career high, 31, which she got against Appalachian State. Back on the 17th at home.
As the first one falls off.
She won't get it there at the free throw line.
Tries to bring it to a 1-point game now to Tamaya Lewis Utsi. As it falls in. 30 points now for Tamaya Lewis Utsi. Cross midcourt comes Nevaeh Scott. Scott's got 2 threes in this one to go along with 3 rebounds and 3 assists. She just continues to pound the basketball into the floor. She keeps it close to the body. Got a yo-yo connected to her left hand there. Scott drives inside, tries to dump it off. Ball goes off of, they say it went off of Old Dominion. But they say it went off of Marshall, excuse me. Julie Fulks wants to be sure. And now Marshall's gonna not challenge, but Old Dominion will inbound it with 6 on the shot clock. Ball thrown in, and Timberland East just takes it away. Easy turnover that time, forced by Marshall, number 24. Lewis Utsi gets downhill, and now she'll allow Marshall to reset. King on the drive to the basket. King goes up, can't get it to fall. Yeast comes away with the board. She was undercut by Simone Cunningham. And that'll be another foul on Cunningham. And I think that'll send Marshall to the free throw line.
That's Cunningham's 4th foul now. That's probably going to have to get her out of the game. But Marshall now gets a chance to take the lead, and you get Timberland East, who's a pretty good free throw shooter, 78% at the charity stripe.
So Yeast to the line now for Marshall to try and give the Herd the lead. Puts up the first one and it rolls home. Yeast has got 8 now. Looking for number 9 to give her team the lead again.
And I tell you, smart by head coach Julie Fulks to not challenge on that defensive side and just let her players make plays. See there, Yeast got the steal. She gets the free throws. Marshall in front.
Fields at the free throw line. Jump shot, and Samar Fields, her first bucket of the second half. She finds bottom. She's got 17. 1 point lead again for Old Dominion now. This game's coming down right to the end. 4:40 to go.
That's got to be so frustrating for Trey Williams because she did everything right. Just Fields, even better shot. Great job by Fields.
Marshall gets it to Yeast on the right point. Yeast trying to get inside, hands off Peyton Ilderton on the left wing. Ilderton will just launch a three way outside, just a little short. A scrum for the rebound. Yeast had it poked away. Now Old Dominion comes the other way. Fields trying to create some space inside. Samar Fields will hand it back off to Scott, and she'll let them set the offense.
Back to that battle for the rebound. Delana Carter was the one that poked it away from Yeast. Good job of poking that away and giving the Monarchs the basketball.
Down inside Thompson. Big block shot by Trayshandra Williams. And Ilderton runs it down in the corner. Marshall getting a quick break right now for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. So who does it turn to offensively? Right elbow King. King moving around the screen. Kicks it in the corner. Ingram for the three. Got it. She had 8 last year against Old Dominion. She's got 8 tonight. 2-point lead. Old Dominion quickly into the front court. Carter moving inside, up over Williams. Ball rolls off, and a foul's called as Carter came down with her own rebound.
The official signaled that there was no shot on the foul as well.
The 6'7" Cam comes up at the Henderson Center. Still no idea what it means. I don't think anybody has a clue.
Gets the fans happy, Bobby. I mean, especially the kids. I mean.
67-65, 3:23 to go in the contest. Scott will inbound as the shot clock resets at 20. Down to 3:17 to go in the game. Inside to Stack. Stack off the block a little bit. She's going to try and make a move. Marshall really pressing on her. Fields, she'll let it fly, rattles out, and King comes away with the board for the hurt. As we tick under 3 minutes to play, Marshall with a 2-point lead.
I tell you what, everything worked right there for Old Dominion except for just making the shot. Everything was so synced on Riley Stack. They had the wide open shot there and 3-point land, just couldn't get the fall.
Great defense by Fields. She takes it away from Lewis-Utsi on the wing. Buford playing with those 4 fouls, kicks it left wing Fields. 2:40 to play now. Marshall nearly pokes it away for the steal. Buford on the baseline. Buford gets a little shove, and Blessing King with the big rejection. King with a huge rejection on the baseline, then gets fouled by Buford, and that'll be 5 and it for Buford, I believe. What a block by Blessing King. You see a little bit of a stumble from Williams. King comes over all ball, spikes it into the floor. And then Buford swiping for the basketball and picks up her 5th foul. And a technical foul gets called on 25, Buford as well.
Looking over at Blessing King in the free throw line, I wasn't really sure what in the world happened.
Now behind the play, Buford continued to talk and got teed up.
Well, if there's any uncertainty of whether she had 4 or 5 fouls, that will guarantee her night to be done.
Yeah, if you look at the official stats, they actually have it ruled as 6.
Yeah. Not something you see often, but...
No. But these aren't gimme free throws, so Blessing King will get 2. And as we talked about, Blessing has struggled from the line on the year. Just 40% from the line coming into tonight. She's 1 for 2 there this evening. And then I'm going to guess Marshall sends... Well, if you look at the best free throw shooters on the team, Meredith Mayers at 87%. She was on the floor, so she could potentially be the one that takes the 2.
You would either go with her or Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, who's 10 of 12 from the free throw line, so
correct.
Take your pick.
Yeah. For Marshall, 76% from the line is Lewis-Utsi, as well as Peyton Ilderton. Mayer, 87%.
I think they're going to have Blessing King shoot the 2 free throws on the foul, and then they'll go with the technical free throws.
Puts up the first, and it's short. Ariana Redmond from the bench says, go straight up. Makes you wonder, is she leaning? Puts up a second one and drills it.
Well, whatever Redmond said to Kate, it worked out.
So Peyton Ilderton will step up and take the technical free throws. She made a huge one against Coastal Carolina 6 days ago.
I mean, she's a 77% free throw shooter herself, so it's literally, for Marshall, just pick your poison with Ilderton, Mayer, and Lewis Utsi.
See if she can extend the lead to 5 now. And she does.
Technical foul, man, that's so huge against Buford. That's one of those, it's coaching moment as well for Old Dominion. You just have to tell her, hey, you fouled out, take your defeats, live to fight another day, because now that gave Marshall 3 points, not only that, possession of the basketball to extend the lead. It's just one of those, you gotta keep your head cool. And wait till your next timeout to prove yourself.
Largest lead for Marshall since the first quarter. Lewis Utsi on the drive, nearly carried the basketball. And instead, Hurdle get it into the corner for Mayer. Was looking for that corner 3, but good, well defended by Old Dominion. Now Marshall will clear it out for Tamaya Lewis Utsi. Lewis Utsi all the way to the bucket, tries to lay it in. Rolls off the front of the rim, and she'll head to the free throw line. Lewis Utsi can go to the line with an opportunity for a new career high.
That's on Thompson. That's her third. These players for Old Dominion really getting into foul trouble. Cunningham with 4, who's on the bench right now. Scott with 3. Thompson with 3. Really making things difficult for the Monarchs.
Just one free throw will give Marshall its largest lead of the contest. Lewis Utsi puts it in. 11 for 13 from the line. Marshall as a team, 19 for 24. And perhaps some of the frustration from Old Dominion. Marshall's taken 24 free throws tonight. Old Dominion with just 5. As the second one rolls off. 31 now for Tamaya Lewis Utsi, matching her career high. 6-point lead for the Herd. Thompson steps inside the foul line and puts it in. Game not over yet. Under 2 minutes to play. Marshall just leading by 4. The Herd is trailed by as many as 11 in this one. Ilderton gets it across the timeline. She'll hand off to Tamaya Lewis Utsi. This is what Marshall's done pretty much the entire second half. Hand the ball off to Tamaya Lewis Utsi and let her go to work. Lewis Utsi goes to the right, kicks it out for Blessing King, and Lewis Utsi gets called for the charge. Delana Carter draws it.
And that is huge right there. You slow down Marshall, you don't allow any points, and you get possession to make this a one-possession game. That is huge right there. Great job by Old Dominion and Thompson to take that charge.
Huge possession here for Old Dominion. 4-point lead for the Monarchs. Or 4-point lead for the Herd, excuse me. Lewis Utsi will sub out. Marshall will put in some defense. All the way to the bucket goes Fields, who puts it off the glass. Down to a 2-point lead now. 4-0 Old Dominion run. 71-69. Thundering Herd with the lead. Marshall just trying to get across midcourt as Ilderton gets fouled in the backcourt by Thompson.
That's going to be Thompson's 4th now. So another player getting closer to that foul trouble and fouling out. Getting big because Ilderton gets herself to the free throw line.
Buford was also your best 3-point shooter, 50% on the season. So Ilderton will head to the line for Marshall now. She was just there, went 2 for 2. She's got 8 points. She's going to try and join Tamaya Lewis Utsi as the only Marshall players in double figures. She's got 9 now.
These free throws are huge right now for Peyton Ilderton. You make the second one, make it a 4-point game and potentially 2 possession difference.
As she buries both. 4-point lead with 1:12 to go, and Delisha Milton-Jones will call timeout.
Peyton Ilderton, ice cold in her face.
If you're Delisha Milton-Jones in that huddle, what are you telling your team right now?
Just create separation, and you don't really have to force a shot. You still have 1:12 left to go, and you definitely don't have a foul to give on the defensive side. Take your time a little bit. You don't have to force that immediate shot. Get it across the timeline, set something up, and create separation for your big-time players. Riley Stacks had a pretty good game, and you haven't really went to her. She's had 9 points so far. Fields with 19. team. Try to get your playmakers involved and get them open. Get them that separation to get a shot. And then defensively, you've got to get quick in transition because Marshall's going to inbound it quickly and try to catch you off guard and get across the timeline. You have to get in sync defensively as soon as that shot hits.
Statistically in this game, you look up and down, Old Dominion shooting 52% from the floor. Old Dominion shooting nearly 60% from three-point range. Old Dominion 80% from the line. You wonder, how is Marshall in the lead? Well, Marshall has gone 21 for 27 from the free throw line, plus 16 at the line in this one. The Herd has forced 12 more turnovers than what Old Dominion has, and Marshall is plus 23 in points off turnovers in this game. The Herd also trailing on the board, minus 14. But it's been the defense that has traveled, which is what Julie Fulks has talked about all year for Marshall.
And again, this defense for Marshall, it's like a controlled chaos for the Thundering Herd. They just really create havoc out there on the floor and just get your opponent's offenses discombobulated a little bit, gets them in their heads, and forces those errant passes, or you take that extra errant dribble or get that dribble away from your body that allows a Marshall player to poke it away. So Thundering Herd does a great job of that. Now we'll see what Old Dominion can do. That, again, settle down a little bit. You don't have to get the shot quickly. You can take your time on this possession.
Quickly across midcourt is Old Dominion with 1:05 to play. Samar Fields, as you mentioned, with 19 points, wearing number 2. You know Old Dominion is going to try and get the ball into her hands. Thompson runs into Fields as they hand it off. Now Fields moving left, down inside for Thompson. Thompson turnaround jump shot, rolls off. Stack was boxed out by Yeast, but I think, yeah, they're going to say Yeast undercut Fields, undercut Stack. Fans wanted to walk before the shot, but officials didn't grant it.
Now that's interesting because that's the 5th foul on Marshall team-wise. That should, I think, theoretically put Riley Stack at the free throw line. Correct?
Yeah, now that's exactly what Delisha Milton-Jones is saying. Yeah, that's exactly it.
How about saying, yeah, that was the 15th foul on Marshall. That should definitely get Riley Stack to the free throw line.
So Julie Fulks is arguing she's got it reviewed as just 3 team fouls. So the debate is, how many team fouls is that? The debate is, how many team fouls is that on Marshall here in this 4th quarter?
And both on the scoreboard and stat sheet, it says 5 team fouls on Marshall, so.
Correct. So they will indeed give Riley Stack the free throws. The Stack gets the line, 72% on the year, trying to cut it back down to a 2-point Marshall lead. Stack's first free throw buried.
72% free throw shooter on the year, Riley Stack, so very comfortable with having her at the free throw line in this critical situation.
Stack's up to 10 now. That's 4 of the last 5 in double figures for her. As second one rims out, no good, and Blessing King comes away with the board and calls timeout quickly.
Smart timeout, advance the ball. Now it's tricky because there's 18 seconds difference between shot and game clock. So Marshall's going to use as much time as they possibly can on this offensive possession, dribble it out. And now the job for Old Dominion is just don't allow a made bucket. You give Marshall that easy make or easy take to the basket to get an extension on that lead. It brings you a lot of trouble out there on your next offensive possession. Defensively, you just have to play comfortable. Try to get Marshall a little bit discombobulated. Try to get him out of sync, out of rhythm, and force an errant pass.
As we come down the stretch, Marshall has not had a field goal in the last 3 minutes. The Herd has just been marching to the free throw line. 21 for 27, 78% from the line, which pretty much matches up with what it's done on the year. Marshall trying for win number 9 in a row, and dating back to last season, it's 23rd in its last 28 games. It was a team last year, finished 15 and 20, but won 9 of its last 11. So last year it started off 6 and 18. Since then, the only thing that Julie Fulks has known is success as the head coach at Marshall. As the Herd gets it in for Peyton Ilderton, and she's going to try and dribble some time off the clock. Herd will get it for Lewis Utsi. Lewis Utsi's going to Bring it out towards midcourt, and that's exactly what Marshall's going to do. They're going to let her go to work.
How does Marshall draw Riley Stack away from the paint to give Tamaya Luasutsi an open shot?
You know the three-point shooters will be available on the perimeter. 6 now. Luasutsi finds a lane, gets inside, stops short, and lays it in. 33 now for Tamaya Luasutsi. Number 3 with 33. Marshall leads by 5. Hurd nearly does turn over Old Dominion. Ilderton gets the steal, as that is steal number 7 for the night for Peyton Ilderton. And that's the 3rd time in the last 4 games that she's made a huge defensive play late in the contest.
Big monumental play there for the Thundering Herd. Up 5 to get the takeaway. I mean, again, turnovers have been the key for this game to propel Marshall. Let's have a look at the turnover here. She's trapped. There's nothing really you can do. Tamaya Luasutsi, and a little bit of contact there, but Fields just falls down, lost her footing. I mean, you get trapped between Ilderton and Tamaya Luasutsi, and you have Mayer on the other side as well. That's 3 Marshall players, and that's such a tough lane to try to get through.
As Ilderton will have to, she's had a little scrape on the right leg throughout the entire game. It's got to get looked at and addressed before she can take the free throws.
I'll just type it up real quick. But again, offensively, Fields, I mean, that's so tough for Zamar Fields because you get trapped by basically 3 players, and Mayer does a great job of backing off to allow Tamaya Luasutsi to really play a part of that trap, that 2-man trap between her and Peyton Ilderton. And I mean, there was just nothing that Fields could have done.
She gets in that routine at the line, does Ilderton, where she pretty much crouches down. You notice before every free throw, she bends the knees a little bit, gets into that free throw shooting position before she accepts the basketball. Couple pounds the ball into the ground a couple times and drills the free throw. 77-70, 10.5 seconds left to go, and Marshall's going to try and ice it now. It may already be iced. Ilderton's got, you want to talk about a stat line. The Marshall senior, who we talked about as being the Marshall player to watch, the leader for this team. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 7 steals. Just a really productive night across the board for Peyton Ilderton.
And just a 2-way player, just so good offensively, getting herself to the free throw line, getting some separation for some 3-point shots, has 2 triples tonight. But man, defensively, just a very, very scrappy defender. So handsy and smart as well. She doesn't get too physical to where she puts herself in foul trouble. Just keeping those hands up. It's just technique. Just great, smart IQ basketball from Peyton Ilderton.
Old Dominion will call the timeout and advance the ball into the front court. But with 10.5 seconds left to play in this one, it's going to be difficult for Old Dominion to make up the 7-point Marshall advantage. Scott gets the inbound pass, throws it into the corner, and shot is blocked by Luasutsi. Luasutsi picks up the block, and she's just going to put an exclamation point on this one. Just under 6 seconds to play. Old Dominion looking to throw it in, throws it in, and Ingram deflects it away.
It's so tough when you're a team against Marshall in these winning seconds. Is just trying to get an inbound. Not only that, just get it in cleanly. Thundering Herd team does not back off.
Stack jump shot from the baseline, no good. Rebound pulled down, couldn't get it to go for Clayton. And Marshall wraps up win number 9 in a row as the Herd wins 77-70 to improve to 14-3 overall, 5-0 in conference. Old Dominion falls to 10-6, 2-2 in conference, and Marshall wins its 23rd in the last 28 games.
Just remarkable. I mean, head coach Julie Folks just doing a great job getting this program on the right foot, ending with last season going into this year, and now 5-0 in conference play. And what a performance from Tamaya Luasutsi. Career high 33 points, 11 of 14 for the charity stripe. My goodness, what a night for her.
Tamaya Luasutsi just getting to the bucket. and allowing herself to dribble drive, which is what she does so well for this Marshall team. A lot of people want to say thanks to for the broadcast as Marshall picks up the win tonight, 77-70. Players celebrating as the Thundering Herd advances and continues to be undefeated in conference play. Big thanks to all of our broadcast partners throughout this entire broadcast, everybody involved in the broadcast, all of our people back inside the Cam Henderson Center studios as well. Marshall picks up the 77-70 win over Old Dominion. Marshall led tonight by 33 from Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, 12 from Peyton Ilderton as well for the Thundering Herd. So, for Ben Westfall, my name is Bobby Idding saying so long from the Cam Henderson Center, where the final score is 77-70 in favor of the Thundering Herd. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.